It has been way too long, but we finally got confirmation about who threw that rope down the well. And we have been saying this, we have been saying exactly this for the longest time. It is impossible for someone in that condition that was chained up the way Martin was to throw the rope down the well. And supposedly he did it in one kick without any practice for the first time in his life. It is impossible to do it from that position, and I am very happy, I am ecstatic that the era of gaslighting us that Martin could have kicked that rope down the well has finally ended. But way too many of us are focusing on Fatima's demonic baby and ignoring that in this very same episode, we finally got undeniable proof that Victor's dad is evil.
She was the one who had been chosen to free the children. She wasn't the first. She could see each and every one.
The boy in white was trying to tell Christopher that to save the children, he would have to go through the tree. I told my mother what the boy in white said. That's why she left us.
Because of Victor saying that it was him who told his mom about freeing the children locked in the tower, and that this was something he specifically learned from seeing the boy in white talking to Christopher, this means that Victor's mom did not know about freeing the children before Victor told her about it. And this logically means that it wasn't Victor's mom who painted those paintings that were found down in the basement of that house. And therefore, Victor's dad has been lying this entire time about Victor's mom knowing about Fromland and seeing all the visions she supposedly did before she entered the town. So what this says to me is that Victor's dad has been manipulating Tabitha and everyone else this entire time. And considering that the monsters completely ignored him and Tabitha in the ambulance, despite obviously knowing that they were going to come into the town, them ignoring Victor's dad and not trying to kill him also makes it look as if Victor's dad might genuinely be their boss, because they also completely ignored Abby at that night in the RV. And one of the craziest things that happened in this season was Tabitha literally said, "What happens if I refuse to play along?" while she was in the car with Victor's dad. And then boom, it was immediately after that that she was dragged back into the town.
I look at you right now, all I see is me 40 years ago. It never occurred to me she wasn't broken.
Eloise said that's where my mother went that night. She went to save the children locked in the tower.
Everything lies here.
When Boyd was in the dungeon, he sees a vision of Alice. This means that at least one entity can use the forms of people, even if they're still alive. And considering Victor thinks his sister died at the massacre, that makes me believe that it was an entity that appeared to him using Eloise's form that told Victor this statement that we saw in season 2. And if Victor's dad was actually evil this entire time, it means him asking Jim Matthews to trust Tabitha's visions is yet another trap by the entity. And remember, Tabitha had a vision of Jim Matthews hanging down from the ceiling of the lighthouse, so I would not be surprised if that was sent by a good entity as a warning to Tabitha that following this false path of freeing the children locked in the tower would end in her being responsible for her own husband's death. Christopher was right. He was 100% right when he said that the boy in white is nothing more than a liar. He was the one who sent Boyd to get infected with the worms, and he's been manipulating Tabitha this entire time to supposedly free the children locked in the tower and save everyone in the town, which is the same exact nonsense that the voices were telling Sarah, and it's the same scam that the kimono demon is running on Elgin right now.
You already know what you have to do. Tabitha told you she saw this symbol down in the tunnels. Nature will always put what's most precious in the spots most difficult to reach. It's natural design. Same reason your brain's in your skull.
So you really think this is going to tell you anything?
I think this place has a design. I don't think anything's here by accident.
Nature has a design, Jade, and that is not nature.
Tom the bartender is the only entity we have seen in this entire show that I can conclusively say is morally good and not evil. His first appearance was literally him encouraging Jade to look for answers, and straight off the bat, that's the opposite of what we see from the evil entity, because the evil entity wants to keep people ignorant. And the Tom entity showed Jade the meaning of the symbol, which I personally think is the root of evil, and I made an entire video about that. But we also see him warning Jade that the bottle trees are clearly artificial and not natural. Considering Victor's dad has been lying about Victor's mom knowing about saving the children and about the town before she went in, it means Tom the bartender was warning Jade that the bottle trees are just another trap set up by whoever's controlling the monsters. Every other entity, including the boy, Father Katri, Abby, the kimono demon, and at least one of the dogs, is definitely evil, and there's a significant amount of evidence showing that they are working against us. And I have gone into all of that so many different times, but these 5 beings are definitely evil. And I personally believe that they are all the same entity running the same scam, but tweaking it slightly to suit each individual person's weaknesses.
You know why the phone is off the wall? Because it rang the other day, and the voice on the other end said his name was Thomas. Something here knows things about us, and it knows which buttons to push.
What exactly makes you think you're going to be the one to figure this out? I imagine a lot of pretty smart people have tried.
I'm smarter.
The monsters have also shown no interest in taking out Victor's dad or Tabitha, despite knowing that Tabitha would be coming to the town. And this obviously means freeing the children in the tower is not a threat to the entity itself, which therefore means freeing the children is not the key to getting everybody home, which logically means Tabitha's exit and arrival was planned by the same person controlling the monsters, and the boy himself literally says the children are already dead. The cave drawings literally show us that the sacrifice of the children is what gave the entity power to begin with, and they also show the entity's poisoned crops with monsters dancing around them. And obviously this is the same thing we saw happening with Fatima, because Donna literally says it's like the soil itself was poisoned, and this was obviously done to give Fatima something to feed her demonic baby.